Start. Assalamu alaikum, dear students of honors second year. This is for your non-major class. I am Adnan Hossain, lecturer in English, Dhaka College. And today, at the last class, we have finished article, and today we are going to discuss about right form of verbs. Regarding right form of verbs, the format of the right form of verbs question will be like you will be given a passage, there will be some gaps and you have to fill in those gaps, and the clues will be given into the bracket beside the gaps. That is, there will be no clues in the box as it was during your HSC examination. So let's start right now. So for right form of verbs question, what you have to do is at first you have to understand what kind of verbs are used in which cases, and there will be a good number of cases where you will find the connection of tense, because verb is connected with tense. So now let's focus on our study. In case of universal truth and in case of habitual truth, we use simple present tense. So what is universal truth and what is habitual truth? He regularly comes here and the sun rises in the east. In both of the cases, we see that simple present tense has been used and the subject is third person singular number. That's why we are using what? We are using s after the verb. So if we use simple present tense, then we will use s after verb if the subject is third person singular number. So let's move to another direction. If you find these kinds of words at any sentence, then you will use either simple present tense or simple past tense. For example, he often comes here, he regularly came here. These two sentences are simple past tense. So one is simple present tense, one is simple past tense. If regularly, often, usually is used in past tense, then it will be simple past tense. If it is used in present tense, then it will be simple present tense. If we use such phrases like now, right now, at this moment, at this time, then it will be like he is working now, he is watching TV right now. These are simple present tense. So if we use such words like now, right now, at this moment, at this time, then we will use simple present tense, not any other tense rather than simple present tense. In the next structure we see, let us see. He has come here just now. When I am saying just now and has come, it is like that is we are using past perfect, present perfect tense here. So we will use present perfect tense in case of such phrases like just now, a few minutes ago, a few moments ago, etc. If I use since, and since in case of time, not in case of cause and effect, that is, we use since when we use it in case of time, we use since when we use it in case of describing cause and effect. But here we are using since in case of time. So, if the verb in the bracket is meet, then we would rather say it is long since we met. That is, after since we will use simple past tense, but before since we will use simple present tense. But if before the since it was before the since it was like it was long since we had met, then we can see that we are using past perfect tense. So, if we use simple past tense before since, then it is past perfect tense after since. But if we use simple present tense before since, then it is simple past tense after since. Our next structure is would better, would rather, had better, had rather. I would better go home. So, when I am saying I would better go home, here I see that would better is used, and after would better we are using simple present form of the verb. I saw him working in the field. Here, when I am using working in the field, this expression I am using in case of the object is a personal pronoun. Here we see that him, and then I see that main verb plus ing is being used. So, if the object is personal pronoun, then we will use main verb plus ing. When I am saying any desire, that is the task will be performed in future, then I am using infinitive, to plus main verb. And when I am using object and then I am using main verb, the past participle form of the main verb, then what I am doing is I am actually using this past participle form because the task of the job is already completed, that is the job has been finished. So, if the job is finished, if we refer to any verb which is actually referring to a finished task, then we will use past participle form. If the task is being continued and the object is a personal pronoun, then of course we are using main verb plus ing, and if we refer to any desire to do any work in future, then we will use infinitive. This is the case of causative verb, that is when the task is done by someone else, like here, or this is the task of infinitive in case of there are two main verbs in a particular simple sentence. That is, here we see that see is a verb and work is a verb, want is a verb, to is a verb, find is a verb, do is a verb. So, these are all the cases of causative verb, or these are all the cases where we find two main verbs in a particular simple sentence. Would you mind having a cup of tea? When I am using would you mind expression, then I am using main verb plus ing. So, in case of would you mind, we will use main verb plus ing. Why? Because in case of would you mind, we will use main verb plus ing regarding the main verb. Would you mind is an expression of politeness, that is, it's a polite question. Apni ki ek cup cha khaben? It's a kind of formal expression. In case of using this formal any formal expression and any question in English, we use this expression. What kind of verbs we will use in case of interrogative and negative sentences? That is, if the sentence is like, I don't want to work here. Here, when I am using this verb, I don't want to work here, then we can see in the bracket we are using not want. At the answer, I am using don't want. So, what will we do in case of the negative sentence? In case of negative sentence, we use don't or doesn't when there is simple present tense. We use doesn't when it is the subject is third person singular number. In other cases, we use don't. I am not working here. This is another case, that is when I am using not plus work, it is also, here we see that there is a main verb in the bracket, and then we see that before this main verb at the bracket we see not, but at the same time in the sentence, at the sentence we see now, the word now here. Now I am not working here now. When I am using it, it is like we are using present continuous tense here, because the word now has been used. But the very thing is, when I am using the word I am not working here now, actually we are referring to present continuous tense, and when it is not work at the bracket but we see the word now, we understand that it is present continuous tense and we have to use the word structure am plus not. In this way, we will use is plus not if the sentence is has been started with a subject which is third person singular number. If it is any other subject like second person or third person plural number, then we are using are plus not plus ing. These kinds of structure we use, and again we use have or has plus not plus the past participle form of main verb. Why? Because it is like when in the case of past perfect tense we are using these structures. it has been raining for 3 hours. So when I am saying it has been raining, it is like we are using present perfect continuous tense. In case of present perfect continuous tense, we use has been or have been plus main verb plus ing, and we are using this in case of any action which has been continuing for a long time. Here the rain has been continuing for 3 hours. And then we use since also in case of perfect continuous structures, like it has been raining suppose it has been raining since Monday. So in case of since, what is the difference of using since and what is the difference of using for? In case of for, we don't know that which particular time we are referring to, but in case of since, we know that we are referring to this span of time, that is since Monday, very specific. But for which 3 hours it has been raining, we don't know, and that's why we are using the word for. So you see, a good number of structures related to tense is used here, because verb is all about tense, tense is all about verb. I have come here with a view to learning English. Here, when I am using the word with a view to, then it will be main verb plus ing. We usually know that in case of to, we use main verb. We do not use any other form like past participle or other things. But here, when we are using with a view to, get used to, then we are using this structure, that is main verb plus ing, learning. I am past caring now. I don't mind taking a cup of tea. So when I am using mind, when I am using past, in case of all of these things, what we are doing? We are using main verb plus ing. Okay, students, so up to now we have finished a good number of structures regarding right form of verbs. In the next class, we will discuss some other structures. Up to then, be safe. Goodbye.